JMU lands a big quarterback transfer. It's Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. We'll talk Marshall, got another quarterback transfer. Worlds colliding. Del Rio, Carlos Del Rio, I believe, from Syracuse transferred to Marshall. And we'll preview tonight's college basketball for 3 games in the Sun Belt are going at it. Thanks to the great response that we had with like 30 comments and started going at it in a big way about Southern Miss should play Marshall this year in football. They should have. People were like, well, we should do it in a couple of years. Well, what if the coaches aren't there in a couple of years? That's the whole point, is to do it. I mean, what happens? It's not out of the total realm of possibility. What happens if Charles Huff wins the Sun Belt at Southern Miss? He's going to get scooped up. If he wins back-to-back Sun Belt championships, he's going to end up at a P5 job, or a P4 job, as the case may be. He's going to end up at a P4 job in 2026 if he wins back-to-back Sun Belt championships. So he should have done it this year. Can't be in Huntington. All right, as great as that would be, it should have been in Hattiesburg, but I do appreciate the good comments. And again, did someone say 34? Well, Southern Miss has 34 transfers in, and it looked like Marshall had a bunch of guys as well. So again, Tony Gibson doing a really good job with a lot less fanfare, a little bit under the radar. So I appreciate the comments there. All right, the big news on Tuesday was Matthew Sluka from UNLV, who basically said he didn't get his NIL money, and so he said, sayonara. I mean, he basically said, you either pay me now or I'm quitting, and then he quit, which, as it turns out, helped out my Syracuse Orange because they went in and beat UNLV in Vegas earlier in the year. So JMU lands Matthew Sluka. We'll see how that goes, because Alonzo Barnett III, who hurt himself like the last play of the game, in the bowl game for JMU, was coming back from injury. And so we'll see what happens there. Are they going to battle? Do we have a quarterback controversy? Is Sluka better than Alonzo Barnett III? Because, I mean, Alonzo had a really good season, and he is a tremendous story. Remember, I think he had stage fright for JMU in 2023, right? I'm not even sure he finished the first half or the first quarter before Jordan McLeod came off of the bench and had to finish up the first game, and ends up going on to win the Sun Belt Player of the Year. And this year, he had a fantastic season. Let's see what this is, how this is ranked. So this is ranked by yards per game. He finished 6th in yards per game, 216 yards a game. His efficiency, and who knows how we get efficiency ratings. His efficiency is 5th, 143.4 a game, or for the season, I should say. Overall, let's see here, only 4 interceptions to go with 26 touchdowns. He 60% completion percentage, outstanding. He threw for almost 2,600 yards. Let's see, do we have overall stats? I guess we don't have overall stats. These are just his passing stats. And so, I mean, 26 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. That's outstanding. I mean, is Matthew Sluka really going to improve on that? That's crazy. So we'll see. We could have our first quarterback controversy heading into the spring. So we'll see how that works out. So that got me going on all of the other quarterbacks transfers coming in. And the other big one, among others, is obviously Walker Howard, and I did type it out so I would not screw up his name, basically. So I have them listed. Let's see here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams that have incoming quarterbacks. App State has 2. Coastal Carolina has 2. Georgia State has 2. Right now, JMU has 1. Cajuns have 1. Marshall has 2. Southern Miss has 2. And Texas State has 1. Let me know if I've missed any. We will go over them in the first 2 segments. Okay, so we told you JMU has Matthew Sluka from UNLV. Cajuns get the hometown kid, Walker Howard. Started out at LSU, was behind a guy named Jaden Daniels, so that wasn't going to work out. Ends up going to Ole Miss, so was behind Jackson Dart. That didn't work out, and so now he's come home, starred at high school there, St. Thomas More. I think I missed him. I don't think I saw him. Maybe I did. It would have been a sophomore. They won a state title, so maybe I did see him play. That would have been... Oh, maybe not. 2019? That's a long time ago. I would have been gone by 2019. So anyways, Walker Howard, 4-star recruit, like top 50 recruit in the nation. So we'll see. Has just not played a lot of college football. And so you just never know. That's why I said he may be there, Joe Burrow. We'll see. So we'll see what he looks like this year. We'll see what he looks like next year. All right. So that's 2. You have JMU's Matthew Sluka from UNLV, and the Cajuns. I have at LSU, but he's actually transferring from Ole Miss. All right. So now, still think Zach Gibson's the guy for Georgia State, right? But they got 2 quarterbacks, Cameron Brown from Texas Tech, and PJ Hatter within the conference is going from Texas State. I don't know why that name sounds familiar. I thought I know it from somewhere else, but I don't. So Georgia State actually has 2 quarterbacks coming in. So Brown from Texas Tech and PJ Hatter from Texas State. And another big name coming in is Coastal Carolina. Got MJ Morris from Maryland, and Emmett Brown is coming in from San Jose State. All right. So we have JMU, Matthew Sluka, UNLV. The Cajuns, Walker Howard from Ole Miss, technically. Georgia State, PJ Hatter from Texas State. Cameron Brown from Texas Tech. And Coastal Carolina's got a couple of guys. Emmett Brown from San Jose State, but really MJ Morris is the big guy from Maryland. All right. We still have Marshall to go over, and obviously Southern Miss has the Marshall guys. Texas State's got a big guy. App State has 2 guys. We will do that when we come back after I tell you about Wayfair. After the holiday hustle, there's nothing like giving your home a little TLC. I always find that decluttering and refreshing my space helps me get back into a routine. Whether you're tidying up, clearing out, or just want to give your space a new look, start the year, Wayfair has everything you need, all within your budget. I already have picked out my furniture, and it was a help with their huge selection. It makes it easy to find pieces that fit my style and, most importantly, my budget. My favorite part, the free and hassle-free delivery, even for the larger items. Wayfair's site was so easy to navigate, and I found everything I needed in no time. There's something for every style and every home, and no matter your space or budget, and Wayfair makes it easy to tackle your New Year's home goals with endless inspiration for every space. Again, let's see the shoulder. I always get it backwards. The shelving back there, that's Wayfair. I bought that a couple years ago when I moved back to Lafayette, and the desk that I'm using now, because the movers didn't make the desk. The desk that I had in Lafayette didn't make the move with me to Louisville, so I had to buy a new one, and I got that from Wayfair. Give your home the refresh it needs with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair. Every style, every home. All right, Dave Schultz, Lockdown Sunbelt, your teams every day. All right, so we went over The first set of quarterback transfers. Again, let's recap. All right. JMU, Matthew Sluka. That was the big news. Transfer from UNLV, for lack of a better phrase, quit on the team, or the NIL money that he was promised. And we're hearing a lot of that. The big news when college basketball started, Florida State's Leonard Hamilton getting sued personally by his former players that they didn't get the money promised. Tulsa football coach basically admitted there was never any money after the fact. Okay. And so that's the Matthew Sluka, the UNLV quarterback that quit like after week 2 or 3. Walker Howard from Ole Miss coming back home in Lafayette to play for the Raging Cajuns. PJ Hatter from Texas State, Cameron Brown from Texas State going to Georgia State, and MJ Morris from Maryland and Emmett Brown from San Jose State going to Coastal Carolina. Okay. Obviously, the big one for our Southern Miss, Braylon Braxton, joining his current coach at Southern Miss, Charles Huff. And I think it's, I'm going to go Landry Liddy, Lyddy. I think it's, I'm going to go with Landry Liddy instead of Landry Liddy, but either one, from UAB. So Southern Miss has a couple of quarterbacks. And then App State has a couple of quarterbacks. AJ Swan from LSU and JJ Cole from Iowa State. Now, JJ Cole was a 4-star high school recruit. This is actually from On3. So JJ Cole was a 4-star high school recruit. He's a 3-star transfer. Take that for what it's worth. All right. And so we'll see if that works out for App State. And Texas State may have gotten their guy. They got Nate Yarnell from Pitt. All right. And so, again, that is incoming, not only outgoing, but we didn't even go the outgoing ones. And I looked for ODU. Let me look on 24/7. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I forgot Marshall. I'm sorry. I forgot Marshall. I forgot Marshall. We'll do Marshall now. So Carlos Del Rio. It is Carlos Del Rio from Syracuse. Did not play. I don't think he played at all this year. If he did, it was right at the end of the bowl game. I don't think he played very much at all this year. Would have played a little bit last year. Then I think he got hurt. And then with Kyle McCord, he just went into the transfer portal. I think he did okay when he played. Showed a little bit. But again, he didn't play very much when he did play. But that's my worlds colliding. Syracuse fan, grew up in Syracuse. So I cover the Sun Belt. So I think that's pretty cool. Syracuse got a Marshall defensive lineman last week in the transfer portal. And now Marshall gets a Syracuse quarterback. So that's pretty cool. And Marshall gets Zion, I think it's Turner, quarterback from Jacksonville State. So Marshall gets 2 quarterbacks. So I was one short there. I don't know why I skipped Marshall. It is listed. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams. Okay. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 quarterbacks incoming so far. All right. They did, I think, let me check it out on X/Twitter from our guy Ross Dellinger from Yahoo Sports. They want AFCA head coaches. So is that the American Federation of College Coaching Association or something along those lines? Are proposing to move the transfer portal to a 10-day window in early January after bowl games, with spring window eliminated except for graduate transfers. I would do it the other way. I would do just the spring window. I would eliminate the now window. That's what I would do post. Yeah, that's what I would do. I would eliminate the early window I would eliminate the spring. I would only have the spring window. I would eliminate the now window. Yeah. You get to go. You don't get to go for spring ball. Yeah. You get to go for fall ball. All right. You get to start school when everybody else starts school in the fall. All right. If the high school kids graduate early, then they get there before you do. That's too bad. All right. That's what I would do. You want to transfer, you go through spring ball now. And if you don't want to do that, then you transfer later on. That's, that would be my rule. All right. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know how they're going to do that. They're going to lose. I'm going to tell you that right now. If the coaches set that rule, if college thinks they're going to set that rule that they're only going to be allowed to transfer that one time, they're going to lose. Remember, this is the same group of people who lost that junior college eligibility counted towards four-year college eligibility. All right. The NCAA lawyers couldn't get you out of a jaywalking ticket. So I wouldn't count that on for anything. These guys, that's going to lose. They have to negotiate. They're going to have to get an agreement. I don't know if it's going to be a union or what. I'm not a labor lawyer myself. I just know they're going to have to negotiate with the players. All right. They're going to have to get an agreement with the players. They just can't arbitrarily tell you this is the only time you're going to be able to transfer because they're going to lose. Because what's going to happen is the quarterback is going to lose his spot, or this is what the coach isn't going to tell you who the starting quarterback is. And, I was lied to or whatever, and they want to get out of there. Whatever the case is. Somehow they're going to be manipulated and be lied to, and they're going to want to get out of there. You can see what's going to happen. All right. You can kind of see what's going to happen. But that was also the news that came out on a Tuesday. All right. They want to eliminate the spring opening and just have a, post bowl game, I guess. And then obviously you'd have it for the teams that are playing in the championship in the playoffs. They would get extra days. I would do it the other way. I would just have post spring. I would have one in March or April, whenever spring ball is done. Right? I'd have the depth chart. Everybody knows where they stand. If you want to transfer then, you can transfer that. Go at it. All right. I would know where I stand as a coach. I know what holes I need to fill. Go at it. All right. That's what I would do. That'd be me. All right. Let's take a timeout. We'll come back. Let's preview a little Sunbelt action on Wednesday night. South Alabama looking to bounce back. All of a sudden, Southern Miss has won a couple in a row. We will do that when we come back as the Jaguars are hosting the Golden Eagles. We will do that after I tell you about Rocket Money. Did Rocket Money help you find any subscriptions you forgot about or that you were paying for twice? That definitely happened to me. I had a few subscriptions that I didn't even realize I was still paying for, and Rocket Money made it so easy to track them all down. It's like having a personal assistant for your finances. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow savings. Brings everything together in one place, whether it's your subscriptions, your spending habits, or even the goals you want to hit this year. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. For me, one of the best features is the subscription tracker. I've used it to cancel services I wasn't using anymore, and I've already saved a ton. Plus, with their goals feature, I've been able to automatically set aside money for my future. No more stressing about budgeting every month. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. We've done the football portion of the show. Let's talk a little basketball. 3 games tonight, 4 games on Thursday. So the Thursday show will easily be the Wednesday night recap and the Thursday preview. Let's check out if we get early action on a Wednesday. Not really. We got 2 8 p.m. games and a 7:30 game, but Schultz is not working on Thursday, so we get the day off, so I can stay up late. All right, so South Alabama coming off that tough loss to Old Dominion. They are 12-5, 4-1 in this Sun Belt. Still tied for first. They are hosting Southern Miss. All of a sudden, Southern Miss is 3-2. They've won a couple in a row, and actually 4 out of 6 with losses at James Madison and Old Dominion. That was Old Dominion's first win on this little streak, right? Yeah, that was Old Dominion's first win on this streak, and they've won 3 in a row. We'll see if they can continue that. Game is at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time. And we'll see if South Alabama gets back to what they were doing. And that was playing good defense. I think Southern Miss can score a little bit. Let's see if we got. No, not really. Maybe it was just the last ball game. Here's the thing. Southern Miss doesn't play any defense. That's the thing. Southern Miss gives up 77 points a game. Almost 77 points a game. So that's going to be interesting because South Alabama only scores 75 points a game. And obviously the big thing is South Alabama only gives up 62 points a game. All right. Southern Miss, well, they won 92-88 in overtime, but that was against Texas State. They scored 84 against ULM. All right. So we'll see there. They have not played very well on the road. It would be nice if we had those lines again, like a couple of episodes ago, where those lines just happened to appear when we were doing the podcast. But no, I would presume 5 or 6, right? Again, I'm not interested necessarily on the chokehold, but I would presume a Jaguars win against South Alabama or Southern Miss. I don't think has won on the road this year. They lost to Old Dominion, lost to James Madison, lost to Tulane, lost to Montana State, lost to South Dakota, and they lost to UAB. And I don't think any of those have been particularly close. Now, some of those are very good basketball teams. The closest one is ODU, and that was by 3. So, yeah, I'm not sure this game is going to be particularly close. We shall see. But Southern Miss is playing a little bit better. All right. Southern Miss is playing a little bit better. All right. So that game is on ESPN Plus. All right. Also on a Wednesday night, Troy looking to bounce back from not a great loss against Arkansas State. They're taking on Monroe. That is in Monroe, Louisiana, Fant Ewing Coliseum. Monroe's still looking for their first Sun Belt victory. Could be a long season. Already is a long season for the Warhawks. They are 4-14, 0-5 in the Sun Belt. Troy, all of a sudden, 3-2 in the Sun Belt. Have they lost 2 straight? They've lost 2 straight in the Sun Belt. Wow, did not see that coming. And they've let a couple of ball games slip away. 74-73 to Texas State and 84-78 to Arkansas State. Both those games, they were leading at half. They're going to be taking out their frustrations on ULM. That's not a good spot to be. And again, ULM again gives up more points than they score. Obviously, when you have that kind of record that they do, Troy plays good defense, but not as of late. So we'll see how that goes. Again, no line on the game. Would not be surprised if Troy was a road favorite. And all of a sudden, you have the hot Georgia State Panthers. They are hitting the road. This may be the first of a 4-game trip. Let's see here. No, just 2. They're taking on Texas State and Arkansas State. Can the Panthers split these 2? All right. Texas State, that's a winnable ball game. Texas State has been up and down. I'm going to admit that Arkansas State's going to be tough. All right. To beat Arkansas State in Jonesboro is going to be tough. I think beating Texas State in San Marcos is going to be tough. But that's more of a winnable ball game before they go home and take on Marshall and JMU. I mean, all of a sudden, Georgia State has won 3 ball games in a row, and they're kind of doing it with they're scoring more. I'd say their defense, but it's really their offense. All right. So listen to some of these games. They lost to Troy 77-57. They lost to Mercer 71-68, and they lost to South Alabama 77-51. All right. But they beat the Cajuns 94-70. So the 70 is what those other teams were scoring. They beat Georgia Southern 82-78. So the 78 was what the other teams were scoring. And Coastal Carolina 79-74. So their offense has gotten a lot better in the last 3 games. The defense is still, they're giving up the same amount of points they were. Their offense has just gotten a lot better, right? They were averaging about, I mean, really not a lot of points at all. Let's see what they're averaging total. I mean, not very, it's kind of all over the place. Georgia State was only averaging 72.5 points a game. And, you know, they're close to, I mean, they're over 80 over the last 3 games. Am I going to have to do math? That's about 80. So it's closer to, almost 86 in the last, something along those lines, about 80, 85, 86 in the last 3 ball games. So that's a lot. So the offense has gotten much better. I'm going to take Georgia State in the upset. So I will take South Alabama because I think Texas State will be favored at home. So I'm going to take Georgia State with the upset. Troy is going to win that ball game, and I'll take South Alabama. I don't think I'm going on too much of a limb with 2 of those 3 ball games. On Thursday, we'll come back and do those ball games. You got Marshall is at JMU. Marshall's all of a sudden hot. JMU is not. JMU needs that ball game. 2 teams that are both going in the wrong direction. Georgia Southern and Coastal Carolina, both 1-4. Yeesh. Old Dominion, coming off the biggest win of the season in the Sun Belt, taking down the hot South Alabama Jaguars, hosting App State. App State is hot. That is a huge ball game on Thursday night, and that is in Norfolk. That's a big ball game. And Arkansas State is hosting the Cajuns. Both those teams are 3-2. All right. One is favored to win the Sun Belt, and they're both 3-2. But Arkansas State is 12-5, and the Cajuns are 5-12. So the 5-12 and the 12-5 don't matter at all. Only the 3-2 actually matter. So we shall see how that goes. All right. Keep those comments coming. All right. I will continue to respond to those comments. I'm trying not to get caught up in going back and forth too much on the Twitter. Instead of being done at 10 p.m., I'm done at 20 after 10. So it is what it is. But I will go back and forth as long as it is. I will try to be as respectful as possible. I have not discovered the sarcastic tone on Twitter, so I will try not to be too insulting. I try to be as sarcastic as I can and make it as obvious as I can. So try not to be too insulting because I appreciate everybody that listens and everybody that responds. All right. So I do appreciate it. The back and forth. All right. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening as well. please subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you don't want the video, you just want to listen to it on the phone, you can get it at Apple Podcast and Spotify as well. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll talk to you on Thursday. You've been watching and listening to Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day.